Today, on Independent Wrestling Profiles, we're talking with Mike Forte. When did you first get exposed to the industry and begin that journey of fandom?
The journey of fandom, I actually started very, very young. I was actually three, believe it or not. Because my mom watched wrestling quite a bit, same thing with my dad. And so I actually got to see, I didn't get to see Andre the Giant on TV, but I only saw, all the clips of Andre and stuff, Hulk Hogan, and I saw all these bright, colorful characters, and I was enjoying it, but it was, the guy who actually hooked me was The Undertaker.
Okay.
Because you saw all these bright, colorful characters, all of a sudden the lights go out, and I'm sitting there going, who's that guy? So I was mesmerized by him. So he's the one who drew me in, and as time went by, it was Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels seeing them, and I'm just like, if I don't end up being 6'5", 6'6", whatever, if I'm able to wrestle like those guys, maybe I could do this maybe. So they inspired me to wrestle, whereas Undertaker drew me into the business.
Okay, well, Undertaker's been a steady presence in the industry up until today. Was that fandom a steady presence in your life the whole time, or did it kind of ebb and flow? Because I know with some people, they fall in, they fall out, and they come back. Was that always something that was part of your life?
Always. So it was actually very weird thinking that he's no longer in the business. Same thing with Shawn and Bret when their careers came to an end. It's like, crap, these are people that got me into this. I can't see them anymore. There's nothing new that's going to be drawing me to them. But you move on, you find someone else to enjoy from them. And there's so much talent in the world today. It's insane how much and just how many outlets of wrestling there are. Just Raw, you got SmackDown, NXT, AEW, TNA, New Japan, Ring of Honor. There's so much.
I know that realization for a lot of people that there is more than just the WWE was a big driving factor in hey, I can do this because it's not WWE or bust. When was it that it kind of started to creep in your mind hey, no, this is something that I could be a part of, that I want to do and pursue as I grow older?
Yeah, it was, so when TNA first started up, it also introduced me to Ring of Honor and New Japan and All Japan. And at that point in time, I found out about the independents. And I want to say around the earliest 2010s, I started trying to check out the local scene in Hamilton. And the one that stood out the most was Alpha One Wrestling. And I got to see Hacker Scotty O'Shea, Alessandro Del Bruno, Ethan Page, Josh Alexander, Shane Saber, and all these other guys. I'm just sitting there going, oh my gosh, this is happening in my backyard. How do I become a part of this? And then about 2015, I wasn't exactly pushing myself to find outlets to wrestle, but my friends knew that it was something I wanted to do. So they actually band together and shipped me off to Storm Academy in 2015.
Really? How
They
did
literally
they do that?
shipped me off to Calgary. All three of them.
They just forced you, pulled your money. How did they actually approach you with this proposition? Hey, you know what? You are now going here.
Yeah. So it was Christmas 2014. They all showed up at my house a couple of days later and presented me with a plane ticket. And it's this is the one-way ticket to Calgary. You're going to Storm Academy. Whether you like it or not, we know it's something you're going to do. You've been twiddling your fingers about it for so long, so we're just going to push you in that direction and do it. And I can't thank them enough for doing it. And everything just kind of domino affected from there the whole time in Calgary itself. And then the people I got to share that time with in Calgary as well, I actually got to share the class with Eli Surge, Rachel Ellering, gentleman who's still wrestling in Australia, Kai Drake, Adam Wacker, who just started his wrestling journey after all these years now. He's got a good dozen matches under his belt. Gentleman Jack Wellington and a few others. I'm trying to Romeo Cruz, Johnny Edges. I'm trying to name everyone who's active right now, and I'm pretty sure that's all of it. There's a couple of others that started, but they immediately just kind of they fell off within the year. Not everyone stuck with it, unfortunately.
That is an amazing origin story. And it sounds like you had a lot of support with family initially as a fandom, your friends that were pushing you into the training. But how did it feel for you just being uprooted like that? You're not just doing wrestling training, you've been moved to another province, you're finding your own way. Was it a lot to handle? And how did you get through it when some of those times became a little bit more daunting or difficult?
I gotcha. It was my first time actually like on my own in general because like when I went to college and stuff, I didn't stay on campus or anything like that because it was a 15-minute drive from my house, so there was no point. So that was the first time being on my own, but I have two brothers that have autism. So growing up, one is more moderate to severe, very almost nonverbal, whereas my brother Marco, you might have seen him at some shows. He looks a lot like me. He's high functioning. He has Asperger's. And growing up, I've always had to learn how to cook for them, look after them, yada, yada, yada. So when I moved out there, being on my own, it's like, okay, I got to try and budget things out. And I ended up picked up pretty quickly on it. And then I had to teach the majority of the people in, because I stayed at Storm House. So there were five of us staying there. And I had to teach people how to cook and how to do laundry and how to do this and how to do that. Hey, we got to get bus tickets. We got to learn the bus routes. We got to learn this, the train. No, 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 no. Because none of us had our car there except for one person because he lived in town. He's the only person. So if there was any time like, hey, you mind driving us here? You mind driving us there?
That's awesome.
It was funny the first time I was making sauce, like literally just making sauce. I literally just had oil and garlic in a pan, and you just saw them all like come out of the woodwork. I was like, "What's that? What's that?" And then I taught everyone how to make sauce.
That's awesome. So you're learning wrestling, but you're teaching life skills. Uh, Take me through that journey. Take me through that journey when you're actually doing the training portion of it, though.
Mhm.
You're kind of uprooted and you might have been debating it, but like, was there anything that immediately was like, oh man, I did not expect this. This was tougher than I thought. Clearly, you overcame it, but what were some of the things that were more challenging that you had to put a little bit more of yourself into?
It was honestly the first week. It was because the way the training worked in Storm Academy. Obviously, Lance takes everything very seriously. There's no like he lives the gimmick, and he's a lot funnier than you would actually think. He's got a really like fun, dry sense of humor. But he worked us from 9 in the morning until 1 p.m. just straight through drills, exercises, in-ring work, and then also lectures. And that first week, everything was just so physical. The first week, I didn't expect the ropes to hurt as much as it did. I find that's a lot of people's first shock in wrestling is like, oh, I want to run the ropes, and then you run the ropes, and you're like, you see all the bruises just down your ribs, your shoulder, like everything. I'm like, oh my gosh, everything hurts a lot more than I thought. You got to build up the calluses. And not everyone stuck around. Even in that first week, we had like two people like immediately gone within that first week or two that we were there. And it's like, we started off a class of 16, 17 and ended with 10 by the end of the semester. So like almost half of the guys were gone just by the end, whether it was like someone got hurt, they weren't able to continue, and everyone else's time went by. They couldn't do it, or they weren't. Everything was just like, oh my gosh, they were overwhelmed with this, they were overwhelmed with that, or it wasn't the ray of sunshine that they hoped it was. But at the same time, it's like you got to find your own sunshine in it. You know what I mean? So just bonding with everyone as well, and just I couldn't have asked for it better for people to share that experience with. Like every weekend, we were trying to do something as a group, and Lance came out to a couple of them. And one of the times, WWE came to town, and he got us tickets for the house show. He brought us all. We were able to like just enjoy the night. But those 3 months were just like I wouldn't change a thing. It was the best 3 months of my life. Getting to know Lance, getting to know everybody in class, and also him sending us to the local shows that were out there, RCW, PWA, and all that, and meeting the local wrestlers there and like hearing their experiences. and seeing where some of those guys are. For example, Rohan is now with Maple Leaf Pro, and he's uh, their Grail. I can't remember the name of the title, but he's like one of their main champions now. And he was like maybe a year into the business, just seeing him in Calgary, seeing where he is now, and just a humble, down to earth guy as well. Just amazing. Champagne Singh as well. Raj, just I got to see him in Calgary, and then seeing him on TNA, and then like I go to help out at a few events, and he remembers we're hugging each other, we're trying to catch up as much as we can. Just amazing group of people up over in Calgary, and that's just to name a few of them.
Fantastic. You say you got to find your own sunshine. For some people, that might be the light at the end of the tunnel because eventually training ends. You get
Exactly.
into what you would call your first matches and you start doing it. So, how does that feel? How does the journey to your first match, seeing your name on a card, getting feedback, hearing the crowd cheering for you rather than being in the crowd? Take me through some of those reactions you had to the first couple matches.
Now, would you want my actual first match, or my first match to like actually like start wrestling? Because they're actually two very different stories.
Both.
So my very first match, it actually happened about a week and a half when I came back from Calgary, and it was actually for Alpha One Wrestling. So as soon as I get back, I'd find out that there's an Eric Young seminar, and this is December 2015. And Eric Young's having a seminar, Alpha One. I'm like, this is perfect. Everything that Lance told me about, go do the seminars, go help out at the shows. Went, helped set up the ring, went, did the seminar, and Ethan Page had come up to me, and three other people in the seminar. One of them was Holden Albright, and the other one was White Russian Anton. There was another person. His name was Travis. I never saw him after that match, unfortunately. But so it was me and Albright against Anton and Travis, and we got to do the pre-show for Alpha One, and I'm over the moon. But at the same time, I'm like, I have no gear. I just came back to Calgary, so Ethan's like, "Don't worry, I got you." And he goes, "Does anybody have gear that Mike here can use?" And I was like, "Why don't you have gear? Why don't you have gear?" It's like, "Don't worry, you just came back from Calgary. He's fresh off the boat, if you want to say, kind of thing." So the gear that I was given, I swear, like the only reason why this person had it was for situations like this. There were these bright powder blue tights with dandelions on the knees. They're the ugliest tights you'll ever see. Did the match with them, bare bone basic match, and just over the moon with how it went, and was able to get feedback from Ethan Page and Hacker Scotty O'Shea at the time. Like they actually helped us put the match together because it was for at least two of us, it was our very first match ever. And then Anton and Albright, it was their like maybe third or fourth match, maybe fifth match for them. So we were all just absolutely brand spanking new to the scene, and we just had an absolute blast in the ring. And then unfortunately after that, I wouldn't wrestle until 2018.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So in as soon as that was over, as soon as 2016 hit, my whole family went through a really bad string of just death in the family. We lost 12 family members, and I lost a friend of mine in 2016. So everything got put on hold. Like my whole family was just in this absolute slump. And at the end of 2016, I know that Hamilton Pro Wrestling was trying to start up at that point. So Rip Impact started up his school. I had sent them a message being like, "Hey, let me know when your school is open. I'm very interested in coming in," because at that point in time, it had been a year since I had been at the ring. And I didn't message him back because there was more tragedy that happened afterwards. I had lost another two or three family members after that. It just went quiet, wasn't working out, wasn't doing anything. And then late spring of 2017, he had no business reaching out to me in any way, shape, or form. Hadn't even met him yet, but well, I had seen him wrestle, but hadn't actually been able to talk with him in person. He reached out to me, just be like, "Hey, I remember we chatted all this time ago. Just wanted to know if you ever wanted to follow through with training." And I told him the story as to what I was going through. He went out of his way to meet me in person. and basically encouraged me, just wanted to, we just talked. We basically became almost friends right then and there, me and Rip. And he encouraged me to just kind of come on down for a couple of classes. Here, let me get you on a bit of a program. You don't have to come down and train right now. Get back into shape first. Give it a couple of months. Go hit the gym. And in the summer, fall time, let me know when you want to get into the ring. So he lit the fire under my ass again. Got back to the gym, and about 2, 3 months later, I started training again at HPW. And then 2018, I got to have my first match with Hamilton Pro Wrestling, and then from there it was go go go. It was a very short stint as well, but I wouldn't be wrestling right now if it wasn't for Rip Impact and then just meeting everyone at HPW. So I only had about 16 matches under my belt, and my neck gave out because of snowboarding. So past injury happened with snowboarding, and two of my discs actually shifted, and I had to go through about a year of chiropractor to get back into it. And it was also difficult even before then because I was working weekends, and that's one thing wrestling, you got to be available on the weekends. I didn't exactly have seniority at my work just yet, so I had to book work off in order to do the Hamilton Pro Wrestling shows and MCW shows. Those were really the only two out of the three shows I was doing at the time. And it was tough being able to pay your dues when I had to take work off for like the whole weekend, and I'm missing 2, 3 shifts, basically trying to get my foot in the door for wrestling. And then the injury happened, and I was out for a year. I didn't get back into wrestling until late summer, early fall of 2019. And then what happened 5, 6 months later? The pandemic hit.
Oh.
So everything stopped again, and it wasn't until April or May of 2022 that I can actually say my actual wrestling journey began. So, like, even though I got to go train with Storm Academy back in 2015, like, I would say, like, actively, I'm creeping up on 5 years of, like, active wrestling.
Oh man, that is so many ups and downs. Traveling for training, come back. It must be a surreal moment to be in an Alpha One locker room after growing up watching it. But then
Mhm.
tragedy, retraining, pandemic, there's so much stop and start. Okay, so during all of this time, is there a moment, as difficult as it might be or as fleeting as it might be, where you're actually hit with the realization that, you know what, I am doing this. I'm sharing the locker room with these people that I've been watching. I'm at the company that I've like, is there a moment, or is it until you're actually doing it regularly that you kind of sit back and think like, I am a wrestler?
There were two instances where I'm like, okay, I think I can do this. And one of them, it was my fourth match. It was actually against Rip Impact. And nervous as all hell. Even though I'd been training with him at this point for like months on end, I was still just a nervous wreck going into the match. It was my second singles match ever at that point. And I'm sitting there like, I'm going in the ring with the guy who's got 15 plus years experience at this point, who's been all over. He's been in Mexico. He's been in, obviously, he's wrestled Canada, US, Mexico. Like, he got to wrestle Sonata and Okada in Mexico, and it's just amazing just seeing and like who he is and just the people he's been able to like help out in wrestling as well. It's just been amazing, including myself. And then in the ring, we went like 15, 16, 17 minutes, and we just went absolutely crazy in this match. You can actually, I think it's still on YouTube as well, but it was the first time at the end of the match, I'm sitting there and going, holy crap, I can do this. I'm like, for the longest time, I felt like I couldn't beat that match. I'm like, okay, this is my bar now. This is where I gotta surpass this. I gotta try and find that next match where I can go past that. And that was one of the biggest confidence boosters that I had, was just being in the ring with Rip. And then the injury happened, and then I came back, and around my 30th match, right before everything got shut down, like December 2019, I got to wrestle Josh Alexander.
Oh
And
wow.
at the time, he was TNA Impact tag champion with Ethan Page. I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, it's my 30th match. What the heck are you doing throwing me in the ring with Josh Alexander? But and especially when they gave us like 25 to 30 minutes for the match, and I'm like, I'm done. I'm doomed. I'm gonna let everyone down. Like my confidence immediately just went down. I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. But then meeting Josh and then just having him guide me through everything, putting the match together, it was the one of the biggest learning experiences ever. Like that match alone, I learned so much in that match, whether it was pacing, timing, knowing when to do things, when not to do things. And at the same time, how to work those longer matches, especially against someone like him. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'm going to get gassed. I'm going to get blown up. And at no one time did I feel like I was dead in the ring just because of the way he structured everything, the psychology to it. And I'm like, that's where I saw, like, I'm down here, he's up here. I see the gap and it's absolutely huge. How do I close that gap? It was another fire that just got lit under my ass, basically, just to be like, okay, I got to try and close that gap. I don't know if I'm ever going to completely close it, but I got to try and close that gap because that was the best learning experience. And even to this day, like I can't really, there's not very many I can compare to that moment, just learning from him. Even after the match, he sat down with me for a good hour, hour and a half. He didn't even go up and sell his merch because I just kept asking him so many questions. And he's a true pro in all sense. He sat down, he gave me everything that he could. Any critique, any advice that he could give me, he just sat down, he gave me all the time in the world. And I can't thank him enough for that. And it's also just amazing to see where he's at right now as well. It's just like, he deserves everything. He deserves everything.
That's phenomenal. I do have to ask you another part of your career. Just in your words, how did Airstrike come to be? I'm talking to every member, and I'd like to hear your version of the events that led to that tandem.
So it actually started off the company Courage Pro Wrestling. They booked me and Arrow against each other in a singles match, and the whole idea was at the end of the match, it's going to be a time limit draw. And instead of like the whole 5 more minutes thing, we're going to tease like maybe they don't want to see us one more time. Maybe they want to see us team up. And then from there, it was referee Brad Myers actually came up to us afterwards and he asked, he's like, are you going to take this tag team thing elsewhere? And they're like, you know what? We never actually thought of that because Arrow was training at HPW and we were getting to know each other at that time. And we were clicking pretty well at that time. And everything just kind of grew from there and grew pretty quick too. So as soon as we found out we were going to get a tag, and we're like, we got to think of a name. We got to think of moves and stuff. Let's not just do this in one company. Let's take this everywhere that we can. And everyone just kind of started pushing like, yeah, there's almost no more tag teams anymore in Ontario. You can name the same 5 over and over again. It's like, yeah, that's it. And then as time goes by, oh, there's 2 more. Oh, but now these guys broke up. Now these guys are no longer a team. And we found that a lot of the teams in Ontario were just 2 random guys thrown together for just this company. It's like, you want to see this tag team? You're only going to get them here. Oh, you like this tag team? You're only going to get them there. So a lot of the full-time tag teams just weren't around anymore. And even now, it's hard to find some of the full-time tag teams around. It's to the point where like a lot of the tag matches have got repetitive. We've faced Empire over 20 times. Love those guys to death, but it was one of those things where it's like, we got to find new ways to kill each other.
Whether it's by yourself or with the tag team faction, where do you want to see your career go next? What are some of the bucket list items, whether they be opponents, companies, destinations you'd like to travel with? Where would you like wrestling to take you next?
Definitely want to start getting to the States as a team. I finally got to wrestle in the States, and now Arrow has his opportunity coming up to wrestle in the States. So now that we have our singles, we want to get there as a tag. And at the same time, we also want to go to Quebec. We want to go to BC. We want to get the tag team traveling. We're now traveling, but now it's time to get the tag team traveling. And not everyone wants to pay for a full tag team, I find. They want the individual. But that's one. Getting on C4 as well as a tag team. Trying to get that's one company I definitely want to get on. Then Remix and Acclaimed as well. Just like all of them shows up in the Ottawa area. They're so much fun. I've gotten to watch quite a few of them. I'm like, I got to get on these shows. Come on. I got to get on these shows. They got to get on these shows, whether it's me, whether it's Arrow, whether it's me, Arrow, and Skills as a faction. We got to get on here. And there's just another huge group of amazing people that are out there wrestling regularly out there that we've never even gotten to wrestle yet. And one of the bucket list teams is Fresh Air, and it's going to happen. It was supposed to happen in HWE. You have to move the date because of unfortunate personal issues that came up, but we're hoping to get that match in HWE and then some.
So don't confine yourself to reality, but I can wave a magic wand and say tomorrow you're having a singles match against fill in the blank. Who's the dream opponent?
Oh, there's a few. One person I haven't been able to get the ring with, and unfortunately he's retired. I would love to force him back into the ring, but Just Insane.
Okay.
I would love to get in the ring with Just Insane. When I started training with him, he was coming back from I believe, I can't remember if it was his knee or his ankle that he was rehabbing at the time. And I got to roll around with him at that point. And I'm like, I got to wrestle this guy. I got to wrestle this guy. It just never happened. And even now, he's actually been helping me with my training program, like going to the gym and stuff. He's set me up with nutritional plan, workout plan. So like a lot of my physical progress, I can credit to him. So for a multitude of reasons, I would just love to get the ring with Just Insane.
Okay. So I want to ask you about a specific moment because I was actually witness for it. It was PWO. You had finally won the Internet Championship after chasing Travis Moore for quite a while.
Yep,
And the place exploded as if it was like a home court advantage. Hometown hero slays all.
yep.
Is it possible to put into words what it felt like to lift the belt as that building went insane? Because the energy was through the roof.
It was a really, really cool moment because in PWO, that was really the start of my singles run because ever since we started, it was always me, Arrow, and Scumbag Yates in the trios, and then it became me, Arrow, and PD Skills when we formed Airstrike XL. So like before that, I think I only had like maybe 3 singles matches in PWO like ever. That's it. And it's at that point where it's like, can I make it here as a singles guy? Do they know me as this? Can I do this? And then the support from just the fans leading up to that moment, and also like getting to wrestle who I did in that match. Just everyone was fantastic, and I couldn't have asked for a better moment. And then the roar of the fans at the end. And it's funny you bring up that match because I do remember seeing you. And the one moment that I remember seeing you shake your head was when I pinned Travis Moore, because I know you're very big on Travis.
It's not who it was. It was how the story played out. I didn't want to see you chasing for 6 months and then
Yeah,
get it in a multi-man when everybody did their finisher. I felt that the storyline, it was well deserving of you getting that individual moment to shine.
yeah.
But I do love Travis, and it is the case. But I mean, I was happy you won. I just wanted you to win in a different way. That's all.
No, I got you. I got you. It was just the way thing. But I would love another singles match with Travis because that one that we had at PWO, that's the only time him and I actually wrestled each other. It's the only time.
Well, you guys had great matches for sure. Last question before we sign out. I ask everybody the same question. So, if you had an opportunity to go back and talk to a younger version of yourself, or somebody who was just on the fence about getting into wrestling training themselves, what piece of advice would you give yourself to make that decision a little bit easier if maybe you didn't have the friends to rely on?
I got you. Uh, there'd be a couple of things I would say to myself. One would be get off your ass. That would be one. The second one would be when you're at Blue Mountain with your brother and your father, and you try to do that one final run of the day, and the guy hits you and you screw up your neck. Just wait for your dad. That took a whole year and then some. Because when that happened, I also broke my collarbone, ribs. I got messed up. That's a snowboarding story. That's not a wrestling story. But if I had to say to anybody getting into the business, consistency. It's all about consistency. There's going to be roadblocks left, right, and center. I've told you mine. Everyone's going to have their roadblocks. Doesn't matter who you are, where you came from. If your path looks easy, if your path looks difficult, whether you're naturally athletic or unathletic. I've seen people who are athletic not make it far into the business. I've seen people who started off unathletic become some of the most athletic people and more successful people in the business. So it doesn't matter where you come from. Consistency is key.
Amazing. Amazing. Before we sign out, can you just let people know once again who you are and maybe where they can follow you online if they want to keep up to date with what you got going on?
No, my name is Mike Forte. You can follow me on Instagram at Mike Forte HPW, and you can follow me on Facebook under Mike Forte. I have a wrestling page on there. I don't have Twitter. I don't have anything else other than Facebook and Instagram. I can't stand social media. The fact that I have two is a bit of a shock to myself.
Almost a necessary evil for promoting yourself these days, but
It is. It really is. I tried to be like, pick two. I can't just have one. I got to have two. So it's Facebook and Instagram.
well, thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate you taking the time.
No, no problem. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for tuning in to Independent Wrestling Profiles. Please help out the show if you can with a like, subscription, or review. We'll see you next time.